Let the games begin.
How you doing, YouTube? Deprave of Brutal Gaming here, bringing you the 5.2 Hunter Opener and Rotation Guide. The way I'm going to start this off is I'm going to talk a little bit about our talent choices, and the ones that I chose for single target DPS as a BM Hunter, and then I'm going to go into the opener. At the end of the opener, I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I did and how I did it, and why I did it, and then I'll touch a little bit on the rotation itself. In addition, I'll give a quick overview on gemming and reforging as well. So a little bit of a complete guide here in terms of the BM Hunter rotation and gemming and reforging for 5.2. So if we open up our talent pane, we could see that the last three talents, so your level 60, your level 75, and level 90 talent choices, those are the ones that are going to affect your DPS the greatest. Your level 15, level 30, and level 45 talent choices really have very minimal impact on your DPS overall. And you could tailor those to fit the situation or encounter you find yourself in. Now, seeing as how those first three talent choices really don't affect your DPS directly, I'm going to just touch on the latter three, your level 60, level 75, and level 90 talent choices. The first one is Dire Beast. Now I prefer this talent in single target DPS encounters for two reasons. One, the beast that's summoned by your Dire Beast ability is affected by your mastery. And secondly, the 30-second cooldown fits nicely inside of your BM rotation. Now I didn't choose Fervor. One, because it's another micromanaged piece that you need to fit inside of your BM rotation, and BM has enough things you need to micromanage. What I mean by that is, if you use your Fervor too early, i.e. you're over 50 focus, you're going to cap on your focus, and that in and of itself is a DPS loss. So if you're not very good at tracking your focus and your pet's focus, you probably should stay away from Fervor. And Thrill the Hunt is more your AoE talent choice for your level 60 talents. Your level 75 talent choice, A Murder of Crows, is definitely the way to go in terms of single target DPS. Your Blink Strike having a 20-second cooldown is another ability you're going to have to micromanage and try to fit inside your BM rotation. It really just doesn't fit nice inside there. And your Lynx Rush is more of an AoE talent. Your level 90s, again, your Glaive Toss, the go-to for single target DPS encounters. Your Power Shot having a 1.9 second cast time, and that may vary depending on your haste levels, but that 1.9 second cast does not fit inside the BM rotation. And Barrage, again, another AoE talent choice. So the three I recommend are your Dire Beast, A Murder of Crows, and Glaive Toss for single target DPS PvE encounters. Now I'm going to go through a live demonstration of the BM opener. As you can see, I do have my agility buff and a flask, my agility food buff and a flask. I'm also going to pre-pot just to give you guys a little bit better idea of how powerful a BM opener is. I'm actually going to give a little countdown and then I'll start it up here. Pulling in 3, 2, 1. Okay. And I'll stop it there. That time I got up to just over 250k on the opener. Not too shabby for BM. Now I'm going to go through exactly what I did and why I did it, and hopefully help you guys achieve that burst as well. Stop attacking, kitty. Come back. Okay. So let me go into a little bit, and hopefully, like I said, you guys will come out with a better understanding of the BM opener. So, what did I do? Well, the first thing I did is I popped my Bestial Wrath and sent my pet in there with a kill command. After that, I popped my Stampede, my Dire Beast, my Rapid Fire, my Murder Crows, Glaive Toss, and spam my Arcane Shots. Now, what I found is that there's very little impact on your DPS in terms of how you use those abilities. As long as you're able to fit them all in there and do it relatively quickly, you should see, like I said, a minimal impact on your overall DPS. Now, there are two things I'm going to mention that will affect your DPS overall. One of them, and this is a neat little trick I learned, is fitting 3 of your kill commands inside of your first Bestial Wrath cooldown. And the way you do that is by taking advantage of your Readiness ability. Now, your Readiness is going to reset the cooldown on all of your Hunter abilities except for your Stampede. So what you're going to want to try to achieve is, after you pop your Bestial Wrath and you get your second kill command, you're immediately going to want to pop your Readiness and spam your kill command again. And that's going to give you your third kill command inside of your first Bestial Wrath cooldown. And after that, you're just going to go into the same priority of abilities and use the same abilities you did in your initial opener. You're just going to use them again. And you're going to keep everything on cooldown. And after you've done that, and you've gone through what I like to call your second opener, you're going to flow into your rotation. Now, the most important thing about your BM rotation is that you make sure you have enough focus to always cast your kill command on cooldown. You don't want to be wasting 1 or 2 seconds, or waiting actually 1 or 2 seconds to either generate enough focus or have to use a Cobra to generate enough focus in order to use your kill command. You want to make sure you have enough to use your kill command on cooldown. Now, even a 1 or 2 second delay on that ability over the course of a 6-minute fight is going to add up to a big DPS loss. So that's the #1 priority when it comes to your standard BM rotation for 5.2, is make sure you always have enough focus to use your kill command on cooldown. I'm actually going to go back a quick second. There's something I forgot about your opener, and that is your Murder of Crows ability. Now, your Murder of Crows costs a whopping 60 focus. That's half your focus bar. In order to cut down on the amount of focus that ability costs, is to use it inside of your Bestial Wrath cooldown. Your Bestial Wrath cooldown reduces the amount of focus all of your abilities cost. So by using your Murder of Crows inside your Bestial Wrath cooldown, it's going to make sure, and especially during your opener, this is where you want your big damage, and this is where you don't want to find yourself focus starved, is to make sure you use your Murder of Crows inside your Bestial Wrath cooldown. So if you find yourself popping your Murder of Crows as your first ability when you go to attack a boss, in BM you're doing it wrong, because you're going to wind up focus starved, and that's not a good thing. So that's another little tip for you regarding the BM opener there. Now a little bit back to rotation. So like I said, make sure you have enough focus for your kill command to be used on cooldown, and then it comes down to keeping your other abilities on cooldown. Those abilities, like I said, again, come from your talent choices. So your Dire Beast, your Murder of Crows, and your Glaive Toss. You want to make sure you keep all those abilities on cooldown. And you're going to use your Arcane Shot and your Cobra Shot throughout the fight. One is going to generate focus for you. That's your Cobra Shot. And one is going to be used to shave focus off so you don't focus cap. And that's your Arcane Shot. So basically the BM rotation in a nutshell, is using those two abilities, your Cobra and your Arcane, to make sure that you always have enough for your kill command and that you never focus cap. Once you guys get the balance of that, it's actually quite easy and quite a fun little rotation and class to play. Now, one other thing I'm going to touch on here is our Focus Fire ability. Now, every time your pet attacks, it has a chance to generate a frenzy stack, and that frenzy stack is applied to your pet. When your pet reaches 5 stacks of frenzy, you're able to consume those 5 stacks of frenzy via Focus Fire, and a buff is going to be placed on you. That's a haste buff, and it's 6% haste for every frenzy stack consumed. So when you consume it at the maximum number of stacks, which is 5, that's going to be a 30% haste buff applied to you. Now, I'm sure you guys are aware that your bloodlusts and ancient hysterias and heroisms, those are 30% haste effects as well. So this ability here is like your own personal little heroism or bloodlust if you're Horde. Now, there's 2 schools of thought on this ability, and I'm going to go over both of them, and I'm going to tell you which one I use. The first school of thought is to let your pet keep its 5 stacks of frenzy during Bestial Wrath. The other school of thought is you consuming your pet's frenzy stacks via Focus Fire right before a Bestial Wrath cooldown. Now, the one I prefer, and let me just say this, is that there was no hard data out there to support either one. So whichever one you're going to use, and I'll explain why I use the one I use in a little bit, but it's completely up to you which one you want to use. Now, I prefer to leave the frenzy stacks on my pet, and the reason I do that is because I macro my Rabbit ability, and your Rabbit ability comes from the way you spec your pet, and if you're looking to be on the top of damage meters or do the best DPS you can, your pet should be spec'd Ferocity. And by doing that, you get your Rabbit ability, and that increases your pet's attack speed by 70%. So what I do is I macro that to my Bestial Wrath, and for me, I'd rather have my pet keep those 5 frenzy stacks, have him attacking 70% faster, and doing 20% more damage. That's why I decide to let my pet keep those stacks, and I usually blow my Focus Fire right after my Bestial Wrath ends. Again, it's up to you how you want to play it. You know, try both and see what works better for you. Another little tip there I want to touch on is your Rapid Fire cooldown. Now that's a 40% haste effect. A little bit better than your Focus Fire there, a little bit better than your Heroism and Bloodlust. Now, you want to make sure that you're not stacking your Rapid Fire with any other of those dynamic haste effects. And the reason for that is it's going to put you over the 1 second GCD cooldown, and it's essentially wasted at that point. I mean, if you can't use your abilities because of the global cooldown, then what good is it, you know? So try to stagger those two, that ability with your Heroisms and Bloodlusts and Ancient Hysterias. Now, very briefly, I'm going to go into your gems and reforges. I'm not going to talk too much about this. It's very mathy, and there's a number of tools and add-ons out there that can help you choose the best way to optimally reforge and gem your character. I'm just going to give you a brief little overview of the way I do it. So, if you look here on your range tab, after you get your hit and expertise cap of 7.5%, your next most beneficial stat is agility. So here, as you can see on my legs, my socket bonus is 120 agility. So I'm going to do what I need to do in order to activate that socket bonus. And in this case, I gemmed my Agi hit gems in order to activate that. However, there are going to be times when your socket bonus is not agility, and you're still going to want to activate that. Now, The reason for that is because the 120 haste and the 160 critical strike that I get by gemming something than a pure agility gem in here, and by activating this socket bonus, is more beneficial and is DPS gain over the 80 agility I would get by socketing a pure gem here. So that's the reason why I decided to activate my socket bonus and gem a non-pure or a non-160 agility gem here. Now, reforging is finicky as well. I recommend Reforge Light. That's what I use to reforge my character. It'll put you as close to the hit and expertise caps as possible, and giving you the optimal stats for your class. So I recommend using Reforge Light for reforging, and AskMrRobot.com is a great site that you can go to if you need help gemming your character as well. That's it for the BM Hunter Guide, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you guys out. Even if it helped out a little bit, I'm happy with that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Deprave666. That's DEPRAVE 666. Usually I'm over there live streaming some stuff. I'm going to start doing our raids. I like doing random BGs, just kind of derping around, having some fun. So please join me there, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.